wood.
Alright guys, well I got some pretty exciting news here. I got this. This took 6 years, believe it or not, to finish. This is a wood book. It's just called Wood, with an exclamation point as you can see. It's identifying and using hundreds of woods worldwide. And so now you're probably thinking, well, aren't there books already like that out there? I mean, why did you spend all this time making a book like this? Well, I have most of those books, probably the ones that you're thinking of. I do have a lot of wood books, and I can truly say that this is a unique book. I can confidently say, there is no other book like this on the market right now. There's no other book. I would not have wasted all my time and energy making a book that already existed, that was already out there, and I can truly say that this is a one-of-a-kind book. And I think that is shown by the success of the website, that it's a one-of-a-kind website, and that's why it's been so popular. That's why so many, even millions of people have visited the site. To illustrate, I can see kind of 2 different kinds of wood books out there right now. One is hobbyist oriented. Basically, full color pictures, just very pretty, very visual. But when it comes, and it looks good, don't get me wrong, those books look good and they have a purpose. They can show you what the wood looks like. But when it comes down to practical knowledge, practical data for how to use that wood or how it stacks up to other woods, it's very vague, and I would say in a lot of ways impractical. Now the opposite of that, I believe, is what I would call maybe scientific books. This is a perfect example. This is the Encyclopedia of Wood. It's put out by the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. It's sometimes also known as the Wood Handbook. Now, this is all the color that you're going to see in this book. Everything else is completely black and white. There's practically, I would say, almost no pictures in here, but it is packed. It's packed with data. It's packed with all kinds of facts and figures and measurements and all these things. Some of them are good. Some of them are actually really useful. And then there's some that is just over the top. I mean, this is a section on nuclear radiation in wood. I mean, if you just look, the linear absorption coefficient of wood for radiation is known to vary directly with moisture content and intensity and inversely with the ray energy. So yeah, that's kind of over the top, I would say, in practical terms, unless you're like a quantum physicist that knows about that kind of stuff. I'm not going to need to know, on a practical sense, about nuclear radiation in wood. I just don't need to know that. But yet in here, there are a lot of very valuable sets of data that might get lost because it's 500 or however many pages it is, and it's like finding a needle in a haystack. A lot of this data, not only in this book, but all over in scientific sources, how they know a lot about wood, but it's like they don't want to share, and they don't believe in color either, but they know a lot about wood, and I want to bring that knowledge and I want to combine it with the pretty pictures and the visual aspect, and to combine it into one single book that can be useful for a lot of different things. Now, not only is it about the data, but there's also one other feature I want to go over real quick, which is end grain. End grain is basically how you identify wood properly. So in addition to, here's for example red oak. So in addition to the pretty picture, it's got unfinished, finished, and then down here's an object I made out of red oak, and then here is something very unique, and that is the end grain zoom. Now, a lot of people will think, well, can't I just identify wood by just looking at it? That looks like mahogany. Yep, that's what that looks like. Well, really, as much as we'd like to think that we can always identify wood just by looking at the face grain, a lot of times, if you look at books that specialize in identifying wood, they send you right to the end grain. That the end grain is really where all of almost like the fingerprint of the wood is. It is definitely the place to start if you want to have reliable wood identification. In this book, every wood that is pictured in this book has an end grain zoom sample on it, so that you can use it to kind of reference identifying it. And there's also several chapters on hardwood and softwood identification. To sum it all up, basically I've taken the wood database and all the things that make it special, all the things that make it unique, and I put it into print form, and now here it is. It is in the flesh, so to speak. So I hope that you, like me, will have this in your hands soon.